Hey everybody, this is the legislative recap for this week. Pretty big week legislatively, moving some big bills, and even though there's not many, they're big, so they take a lot of effort around here, and we usually don't have weeks that we get so much accomplished. But let's get right to the top. HR 8800, the National Defense Authorization Act. So first of all, I voted yes on it. And what it does is authorizes a spending to a certain level for these things. And this, of course, is national defense. So it would authorize the spending for the Army, the Navy, the Space Force, well, not necessarily all the Coast Guard, because some of that's in transportation, but the Marines, et cetera, the uniformed military services, all right, the National Defense Authorization Act. I will tell you, I thought it was way too much money. I actually met with the Pentagon this morning about it, and I said, you know, we need to be saving money, and I know they are saving money, but we need to save a lot more, and we need a lot more granularity about exactly what we're spending the money on, what weapon systems, how much, why, because it's an ever-changing threat environment out there, and we got to make sure that the weapons capability we have is matching the current and future or expected future threat. But at the same time, I would also say this, and this weighs heavily on my mind, we have uniformed service members in contact with the enemy right now, and I don't want to send a message to our enemies, regardless of who they are, that there's any lack of resolve in the leadership of the United States to support our service members as they're dealing with the enemy. There should never be any lack of resolve to do that. So while I have questions and concerns about the level of spending, I also want to be very supportive and outwardly supportive of our troops in harm's way. So that's HR 8800, the National Defense Authorization Act. House Continuing Resolution 113, the Budget CR Reconciliation 3.0. So the situation is this. Our colleagues on the other side of the aisle refuse to fund the government at all. Some things in particular, like border security and immigrations and customs enforcement. Our fiscal years ends the end of September. We don't want to get to the point where at the end of September and we can't convince our colleagues to vote for any spending at all, and we have a partial or full, what they would call or consider a government shutdown. So in anticipation that might happen, we passed a continuing resolution, which means that we're not going to change any policy. We're not going to increase spending. We're not going to lower spending, but we're going to keep it at the same level it currently is. Just to let them know, if we can't get any agreement or resolution at the end of September, that we intend to pass that continuing resolution. And with that, it also opens up a process called reconciliation. Again, we have this thing called the Save America Act inside of reconciliation, which would require identification when you vote and identification or proof of citizenship when you register to vote. So if you're already registered, not required, but if you're registering to vote, you would require proof of citizenship. This is an issue that has upward of above 80% approval across the political spectrum. So Republican, Democrat, Independent, non-affiliated, maybe not even registered to vote. The vast majority of American citizens want this, and we have passed it multiple times in the House. We can't, obviously, we need the Senate to be good partners. Again, we can't get our friends on the other side of the aisle to be for election integrity. So we're going to try and do it through the reconciliation process, which doesn't need 60 votes in the Senate, it needs 50. And so we put that in that bill, and we passed that and sent it to the Senate. As you know, I'm a prime sponsor of that bill and worked diligently with the author of that bill as we were crafting it. And so I'm very supportive of that, and that's why we did what we did there. Also, HR 7008, the Stop Insider Trading Act. I voted yes. I'm an original co-sponsor. I was a co-sponsor and am a co-sponsor of multiple bills to stop members of Congress from trading stocks. I just don't think it's appropriate, as you know, and as I've told you, I don't own any stocks. I don't own any commodities, no crypto or anything. I never want you to wonder why I voted for or against something that I somehow might be looking out for my own self-interest. Unfortunately, there are many members of Congress that do that, and as you can imagine, they outperform your citizen who doesn't have this inside information, and literally they outperform many financial managers and advisors because they have this inside information. And I think it's very corrosive to the trust in the organization. I just don't think we should be doing that here. And I think that members should just kind of do that themselves. Unfortunately, they don't. You have members that have come here with thousands of dollars of net worth, and then they leave with a couple $100 million of net worth. The American people get what's going on here, and we want to stop that. So I was happy to support it, co-sponsor it, and vote for it, and happy to report that it passed. And then finally, we did a town hall. We did out on the 22nd. The next one is planned for August 11th. And if you didn't get to catch it, you can catch the recording of the entire town hall online. So that's kind of, one final thing. We introduced as a bill a constitutional amendment to apply the natural-born citizenship requirement that is required for the president and the vice president to members of Congress and the Senate. The reason I'm doing that and the reason I believe in that is we have now people that have moved to the country, aren't natural-born citizens, that appear to have their allegiance and their alliance to foreign countries, and they want to serve in the Congress or in the Senate. And I don't think that's going to be great for America. You need to be committed to America. You need to be dedicated to America, not the interests of some other country. And we've seen some of these representatives that literally are looking out for the interest of the country that they came from primarily, as opposed to America. That's not a good recipe for success. And so we're introducing this as a constitutional amendment to be a natural-born citizen to serve in the House of Representatives or in the United States Senate. So we introduced that this week. More to follow on all of this, but for the meantime, I hope you're having a great summer and have a great week. Until next time, God bless you.